So first speaker for the day we have is Subodh, and he will be giving us talk on critical infrastructure security. Subodh is a techno-strategist with a unique combination of security technology expertise coupled with critical analytic skills and business focus. He is Vice President and Chief Security Evangelist at Mac Security Private Limited, a leading Indian company specializing in information security education, consulting, products and services. He is also part of international committee drafting cyber security standards for industrial automation and control systems. I request Mr. Subodh to take over the stage. Thank you.
Thanks for the introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. Because of shortage of time, let me just directly jump into the topic for today's discussion. How many people are aware of what industrial control systems are and what they do? Heard of SCADA, DCS? A few? So I want to talk about the new type of threat that is staring at us, what industry is doing about it, and what as a security community we can do about it. So let's jump directly into it. We know that modern society is dependent on several critical infrastructure. For example, electricity, transportation, power, petrochemicals, oil and gas. Many such areas, many such industrial domains, and these industrial sort of infrastructures are run by very specialized, complex computers, which we call it as industrial control systems. So, industrial control systems are extensively used to manage the operation of critical infrastructure. Now, if you search for critical infrastructure and security on the internet, you will find that there is a lot of activity, a lot of news, events, incidents being reported in the last few years. Every day you might find a new incident being reported. These are some of the examples, and there is a lot of discussion, there is a lot of interest in this topic which is being built up. Why is this so? Okay, let's see going forward. This is something similar to what you must have seen in movies like Die Hard 4 to be specific. Okay, where some hackers take basically control of the entire industrial infrastructure like electrical grid, and basically hold the entire nation hostage. So this is something similar to that. Now, the SCADA or the industrial control systems, are becoming very easy targets for the hackers. Okay, let's see how. These are some of the examples in the last 4-5 years, and some of them are very recent. Okay, so this was one of the incidents happened at Bangalore Chrysler plant, where a worm shut down almost 13 different plants for several hours, and that caused huge damage in terms of productivity and cleanup required. This one is from Australia sometime back, where a disgruntled employee hacked into the network, the sewage network, which was completely automated using various pumping sites and managed by SCADA systems. So he basically changed the entire pumping sequence, caused a lot of damage to the environment, caused a lot of raw sewage to get spilled in the community. This was an example of a pipeline which exploded because of malfunction of SCADA systems, and one of the reasons was how these systems were managed, how poorly these systems were managed. As a result, the malfunction, pressure increased and caused explosion, resulting into a lot of property damage as well as loss of human life. You must have seen this in news sometime back. Okay, so viruses infecting the space station repeatedly. This is like 2 examples of malware crossing the air gap, as we say. This one is again from Ohio nuclear plant, where slammer worm actually crashed the safety monitoring system of a nuclear plant. Despite having firewall, having a complete separate control system network, still this happened because of some backdoor into the control system LAN through a vendor, maintenance vendor. Similarly, yet another incident, and you can just go on and you can keep talking about these incidents whole day. Okay, these are just increasing in number. Very recently, there was this one of the Schneider companies, which manage a lot of electrical infrastructure for many of the grid operators. They were breached, okay, and they had to actually cut the connectivity to the grid that they were managing. So, becoming very, very, very serious, and Stuxnet was actually the wake-up call. So, till 2009, 2010, people were still debating, these are all theoretical sort of issues. There were bits and pieces of problem happening, but people were not acknowledging them. They were still in a state of denial. But after the Stuxnet attack of 2009-10, this was something everybody has started taking seriously. So Stuxnet, everybody knows how it works. So I will not get into the detail. It was more sophisticated attack. It was more like a proof of concept where somebody actually breached all the barriers to reach to the control system core and managed to disable the controllers, which basically were handling the uranium enrichment drives for a nuclear power plant. So why this is happening now? Why was this not an issue? What are the risk drivers, okay, for this? First is increased connectivity. For increasing efficiency, productivity, we are more and more connecting these control system networks to your enterprise networks, right? So there's a concept called sensor to the boardroom. Whatever is happening at the plant is being tracked in real time from the enterprise systems, from the business systems, and being managed. So these systems are more and more linked to the corporate information systems and network, which is one big driver for this. If you know something about SCADA and DCS, these systems started as a proprietary systems, 20, 30, 40 years ago. Many of the protocols, communication protocols and systems. Now, most of them have become open standards. Anybody can access them. Most of them do not have any security features inbuilt into it. And apart from this proprietary to open transition, you also have a lot of commercial IT systems, Windows, TCP/IP, all of those that we use in our company organizations, that is being used on the plant floor. Okay, so now your controllers are IP enabled. It was not the case earlier, so any malware can easily reach up to the controller and easily cause the damage. In fact, we are looking at some of the controllers of a very popular SCADA vendor, and those are actually based on embedded Windows. Very old embedded Windows system, unpatched, with a lot of loopholes. The third risk driver is design limitation. These systems which control our water supply, our electricity, oil and gas, these were not designed for security in mind. These were designed, established about 30 years ago, 20 years ago, and security was not an issue. Physical security was always an issue. Cyber security was not a concern back then, so much as today. Okay, so the only principle that applied was security by security. Right? Everybody was happy that their plant is air-gapped, it's not connected, all the control is local, which is long gone, and that is not the case anymore. They were also happy that nobody knew or nobody could understand their system because they were proprietary systems, which is also changing very fast. And I have been speaking at various conferences, automation conferences, talking to a lot of stakeholders. There is absolute lack of awareness in this area. People managing very critical infrastructure, managing 5,000 megawatts of power to one of the largest industrial city or one of the largest city in India, but absolute zero about security aspect. Okay? So there is a huge lack of cyber security awareness, because imagine somebody running a power plant or an oil refinery, there's huge amount of domain knowledge that is required to run those systems. Very complex, A lot of domain knowledge required. Security and IT comes pretty much the last. Okay, so big gap there. So let's try to understand, where these industrial control systems fit into the entire picture. Okay, so if you look at this layer sort of diagram, you'll appreciate this more. On this side, we have the internet and internet PMC as well as enterprise LAN. So this is the enterprise IT that we know and we deal with most often, right? Most of our security efforts, research efforts are targeted at this layer. But there is a huge amount of computing infrastructure, networks, communication links, which are deployed at this level. And what is that is running here? Okay, it is the Windows PC managing a very critical controller, managing a physical process, maybe something like nuclear fuel rods. Okay, so huge amount of IT being deployed here. Okay, this is what we call as industrial control system, and obviously there is a layer between them, which is the operations TMC, where the business logic for the entire plant lies. Also, if you want to transfer any information in and out of this control system LAN or control system network, you have to go through the TMC here. So, starting from the internet TMC, you have enterprise LAN, you have operations TMC, you have supervisory or HMI LAN, where your SCADA or DCS systems are there, connected to your controller LAN, and then to the actual process network, which is controlling the physical assets. Okay? So you have IP connectivity till this point, and which is again becoming a big issue. So right now, this entire layer is pretty much unprotected. And just imagine the scale of deployment of these systems, probably more than what our enterprise systems are deployed. So huge amount of infrastructure still unprotected, and impact is not just financial or legal, the impact is physical. It can cause explosions, fire, malfunction, environmental impact, human loss, human life being affected. Huge amount of impact is there. So one thing to notice, ICS security is not same as IT security. Okay? Even though the problems, the infrastructure, the vulnerabilities look the same, okay? The solutions are completely different. You cannot take the same control or technical solution that you have on enterprise side and take it to the control system environment. Simple things like patching become really, really challenging. Okay? These systems are always on systems, running 24/7. There is no patching window. They don't shut down. I was at one of the transmission distribution operator who was managing a power supply for the entire region, and the systems installed there was, the system was installed in 2005. Antivirus definitions 2005. Other than that, no protection. Okay, so things are really, really scary, and because of the nature of the system, the lifespan, which is typically 10 to 15 years, unlike our enterprise IT systems, which change more often, security awareness not being there, most of these systems are real-time systems, very critical. A simple scan operation, like an nmap scan, would cause huge damage because these systems do not handle maybe a series of packets directed at them. Security testing audit, rare, pretty much nobody is deploying it. But the business impact, look at this aspect. A huge business impact. Apart from the monetary impact, there are a lot of other problems as we just seen. So, problems are the same, challenges are the same, solutions are much different. Another barrier why it is challenging is, or why not too many people are focused in this area, is the domain knowledge that is required. So really, if you really want to work in this area, you probably need to understand what those SCADA systems are, without which nobody is going to allow to touch these systems. So, That is why we have really dearth of people who can understand both worlds, understand the automation world as well as security world, and really go together. So we cannot apply IT security controls blindly to this industrial control system because they can cause more damage than protect the systems. Who are the adversaries? Usual suspects. Okay. And we have growing threat from industrial spies, hackers, disgruntled insiders, and to a great extent, state-sponsored terrorists, which are taking a lot of interest in this critical infrastructure related hacking. If you look at the reported vulnerabilities and very brief sample, it will look pretty much similar to what we find on our enterprise systems. Right? Very basic security, so except for the physical security, most of these layers are unprotected. Default credentials, no patching, no antivirus. Even with antivirus, we know what are the issues, but there are, every year more and more security researchers are working on these systems, releasing more and more vulnerabilities, but it's still a tip of the iceberg. Okay, there's a lot more work that needs to be done here. So what are the challenges and what are the opportunities here for the security people? This is a typical SCADA architecture, very simplified SCADA architecture. Essentially what you have is a central control room where a lot of servers, a lot of centrally run applications are hosted, and then you have the entire field infrastructure consisting of PLCs, RTUs, which are the remote terminal unit, IDs, and variety of controllers, okay, which are managing the physical processes, like say automobile assembly line or say food and beverage plant. Okay. And it is being monitored, controlled, programmed from the central location. So what we essentially have is many systems which look like our commercial IT systems, which are either Unix, Windows, Linux based. Variety of communication networks in between, and then embedded systems like PLCs or controllers. Sometimes they are running proprietary OS, sometimes they are running something like embedded Linux or VxWorks or embedded Windows as well, and running a lot of critical functions here. So we can roughly divide this problem into two areas. One is on the communication and protocol side, okay, and other is on the system side. So what are the current trends? What are the issues here? Okay. There are literally hundreds of communication protocols used in a control system environment. Okay. Here, on enterprise side, our job is much more simple because everything that we are focusing on is TCP/IP. Whereas here, this is just a very brief sample. These are some of the popular protocols you might see on the plant floor. Okay. So SCADA has its own protocol. These are very famous. DCS, process automation, which is basically managing a factory or a particular geographically limited process. And then we have a host of smart buildings, meters, vehicles, and other protocols being designed. Okay. So serious development happening at the networking layer as well as the physical layer. Okay, we have pretty much from serial links to satellite links, everything in between, fiber optics, everything being used at the physical layer, and host of protocols which we are dealing with. So what are the challenges at this layer? Okay, everything that we take it for granted in our enterprise world is missing. Okay, complete lack of authentication, no confidentiality, encryption, message integrity, again, no data validity. Most of these protocols are not routable. Okay, so everybody listens to the broadcast, and broadcast is the only way to communicate. They have a lot of serious functionality for programming the controllers, PLCs, RTUs, and controlling the field devices. Very easy to message spoofing, susceptible to the man-in-the-middle attack, dot attack. Okay, and here is where the challenge is. Okay, we can't apply our commercial firewalls in this environment, whereas there is a serious need to deploy firewall and layered architecture in the control system environment. How are we going to protect these devices from unwanted communication, which can easily reset a controller, easily reprogram the controller, or some kind of a worm attack? So because the nature and the variety of these protocols and lack of support in these commercial tools and products, we have big challenge in this area. Again, we don't have support for these protocols in many of the popular tools. Again, there is a huge work that is required back there. Coming to the systems, these are typically the systems which we see in the field. They are used for communication and either one of these functions: communication, control, safety or protection, monitoring, metering. Okay, typically run some kind of proprietary or commercial OS on an embedded sort of platform. Have TCP/IP connectivity, support a lot of networking protocols, the SCADA and ECS protocols that you have seen, but absolute lack of basic security features. If you have noticed the number of, say, 0 days and vulnerabilities that were reported, okay, most frequently you will find that some kind of controller platform or PLC is being targeted. And people are finding like 20, 30 vulnerabilities in a day. Okay? They're buying the hardware of eBay and all these stuff, subjected to a lot of torture, and you can get a lot of vulnerabilities, and obviously they're making a lot of money out of that. Very highly susceptible to cyber attacks. So, again, a huge challenge here. So, how do we address this challenge? What are we doing? So, at MIL, we are actually coming up with an end-to-end practice to address this issue. We have right from the education or the training, consulting, risk assessment, and solutions which we deploy at the control system environment, in the control system environment. At the same time, but given the skills gap that we were talking about, even in the enterprise world, we are seeing that we need huge manpower, and in this area, we are absolutely not having many people focusing on this research. Okay. So how can we contribute to this? Okay. Obviously, networking, professional network is the way to go. Okay. We are looking for people who have these kind of skills, who can come together, work on projects jointly, and basically address some of the challenges at the networking and the embedded systems level that we were talking about. Huge opportunity, a lot of work needs to be done. As we were talking in the morning, it's in the international interest, so which is what we are trying to promote in the industry right now. So that's all I have. Any questions? So if you are interested, if you are working any of these areas, interested in projects, do let me know after the presentation, and we will definitely coordinate. So I believe we are just on time. So if there are no further questions, I'm anyway available. You can let me know anytime. I would like to thank the organizers for giving me the opportunity to make this presentation. Hope you will have you're having a good time, and let's discuss. Whoever is interested, we would definitely like to hear from you. Okay, thank you.
Subodh